Hey guys, Ice Hockey Aussies here. We just spoke about Dallas and Minnesota in our last video. Now we're on to the Devils v Rangers. Absolute blockbuster this one is going to be. I can tell you right now, it's one of the series that I'm most looking forward to. This is why we're doing this this one second. Um, but yeah, this is going to be an absolute cracking series. Let's get us started. We've got Jaden here.
Yeah, so Devils ended up finishing second, 1 point behind Carolina, and then Rangers finished third, 5 points behind the Devils. Devils in the series in the four games, win three, lose one in OT. And onto special teams, just having a look at special teams, it looks like New York Rangers have a better power play. I'd say even penalty kill, and then pretty much similar goals for and goals against. Though a little bit higher for the Devils on both fronts. They're both very strong teams, both added during the trade deadline. Uh, we've got them in our predictions, both New Jersey winning, uh, even though it's going to be a very close series. Both teams blockbusters. I'd say Rangers have the edge in the goaltending front, and look, it's going to be very fast paced. Like playoffs is always very fast, but New Jersey and Rangers play a very fast game, so I can only imagine that hyped up to the max. It's going to be pretty crazy. May even see some injuries because of that, and we'll have to see if these teams can play a physical game or they get to play their loosey goosey, got the puck and skating it all the way from the back end to the front end type play that these teams like to do sometimes. So it'll be very interesting, pretty much similar in regards to points from the top five players, and I can't see it not going to seven, though I can see your understanding of going to six, but I just think these teams are just so even.
Yeah, I agree with you. My Devils in six thing is just more, I think, around Adam Henriques. Um, sorry, Rangers fans. Um, but yeah, it's more just around the this home series this year. The Devils, even though every game was close, they just always seem to find a way. Right, there was that one game that the Rangers got them in overtime, and honestly, the Devils probably outplayed them in that game as well. Probably should have got the result, but it just didn't go their way. So in the in the four game series so far, they won three, they lost the one in overtime. Probably should have grabbed that as well. I just feel like in this series, the Devils have just always seemed to have the upper hand, even when the Rangers have gotten on top of them slightly or pulled away a couple of goals just out of nowhere and out of nothing. Devils have had the answers, and the Devils have always managed to come back. That
Mm,
being said, playoffs is a different beast, right? New York Rangers have the experience. They went to the Eastern Conference final last year. The Devils haven't been in what they made the playoffs in 2017, but really, it's been a long time since they've been relevant in playoffs. 2012 was the last time they were anything. So yeah, it's gonna come down to that. Can the Devils overcome that inexperience against an experienced New York Rangers side? That's sort of where I could see the Rangers getting the upper hand. I think it'll be. I think the first two games is going to be really interesting. I think if the Devils split at 1-1, I think they'll be okay at minimum. If they go 2-2, 2-0, of course, it's going to be great. But I think if they go down 0-2, it's probably alarm bells because I feel like that's when they're going to start to sweat. So a lot of pressure on the first two games for the Devils, and with Shesterkin, how good we know he is, the question marks around Vanacek. I'm not writing New York Rangers off at all. I think my prediction's more around just the team that I know New Jersey are this year. I think they've got the talent. They've got pretty much a complete team, a couple of question marks, and they seem to have New York's number this year. So yeah, at the moment I'm giving the edge to the Devils. However, I do think New York's experience could end up pulling them over the line.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple of things in regards to the Rangers side of things. Like they've come into the playoffs not really hot. They've whereas the Devils have come in hot. I think the Devils were the league leader in comebacks throughout this season. And look, you don't want to be doing comebacks during the playoffs, but it kind of shows what mentality and toughness they have to be able to do that, to bring those games back, even though they're a goal or 2 goals behind, sometimes even 3 or 4. They've been able to do that, and look, that means they're probably not getting onto the gear straight away in the first period, but it means they kick in later on when teams probably start tiring out. So it's going to be interesting if they come out the gate playing like they do play, or if they're going to come out slower than do this comeback that they've done throughout the season. And that is my big question mark over them. They've got the momentum from the regular season going in, which I don't think the New York Rangers do, even though they have been playing good hockey. Just the results weren't there, and I think that plays a part. The only thing, Rangers obviously playoffs last year, so second straight playoffs. They went to the Eastern Conference Final, so they got all that experience on pretty much most of their team, and that goes a long way. Whereas a lot of the Devils team is pretty much untested in playoffs in regards to Hughes, Hischier, Bratt, Mercer, etc. They do have some veterans, of course, and they brought in Palat. They do have Dougie Hamilton, etc. So they have some little playoff experience, but it's their goaltending. Their goaltending is untested basically in playoffs. They basically have to rely on Vanacek. Akira Schmid is their best backup, and he's obviously very untested. So, are they playoff goalies? That is the big question for me.
Yeah, I think it's probably gonna come down to that, isn't it? If Vanacek can stand on his head like he has done a lot throughout this year, it's gonna go a long way to winning the Devils this series. If they capitulate, then yeah, it could be all over very soon because um, yeah, like you said, they are all fresh. Doesn't matter who you pick, essentially, Vanacek, Schmid, or Blackwood. They're all. I don't think Blackwood's getting a sniff, but they're all relatively fresh. They haven't got a lot of playoff experience. Whereas Shesterkin, yeah, took the Rangers all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, stood on his head. We know what type of goaltender he is, so it's gonna be difficult for the Devils in that sense. But they've got the firepower. 100% they have the firepower. One of the things I'm really liking here is you look at the top five on each team. They've got your four forwards and then that you know offensive defenseman in Dougie Hamilton, Adam Fox. So these two teams they really are built quite similar. You look at the four lines, they've both got four offensive lines, they've both got three defensive lines, and where the Rangers probably outshine is on the goaltending front. However, Vanacek has been very good this year. So if he can go in and play like he has throughout the year, the Devils are going to be in good stead. But yeah, it's it's set up to be an absolute blockbuster. My worry for the Devils is that inexperience, and if the Rangers get on top of them early in the series, like I said, go up 2-0, that's when alarm bells could sound, and I could see it. Honestly, I could see it being a 4-1 Rangers. Um, so it's all going to come down to those first two games, I think.
Yeah, well,
If the Devils
Rangers
can get
do have
in
a
the
good
field,
record at playing away, so that plays in their favor for the first 2 games.
exactly right.
Mm.
Yeah.
And like
So yeah,
my other concern is the plus minus for Panarin and Trocheck. +4 and +3 for that many points is a bit concerning. It shows that like for Panarin's sake and whatnot, a lot of those points are coming off power play and special teams. So that is my one and only concern in regards to the top 5 point players, and if that's something that the Devils can exploit or not, because the Devils pretty much have a complete team through and through. They got Tatar, who I think had one of the best plus minuses in the league, with like 41 or something like that. So it's going to be hard to break through when those type of not, I wouldn't say depth, assuming he plays on the first line every now and then, but he's not that first line player that other teams have.
Mhm.
But I don't know how the Rangers are going to get through that as much. They're really going to have to play some sort of physical game, I feel like, to bang up these youngsters a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting game. I'm looking forward to that first matchup. I think we'll find a lot out in that first game. How the Devils are going to come out, how the Rangers are going to come out, what their mentality is, what sort of game style they're looking to play early. I think that first game is really going to set up the rest of the series and what we're going to see. So I'm excited for it. I think, yeah, my prediction of 4-2, I'm thinking is a minimum. I'm thinking it'll go at least 6 to 7 games. I hope as a hockey fan that it goes 6 or 7 games.
But you just want to see as much
As a
hockey as
Devils,
possible. That's the thing.
oh, 100%. I mean, as a Devils fan, I'd love us to win 4-0. It'd be fantastic. But realistically, and as a hockey fan, I would love to see a 7 game series between these two. It to be tight as all hell. There to be overtimes every game. It would be phenomenal. And I think that's on the cards. I do think we'll see a couple of overtime games in between these two. I think it's going to be tight. I think every game's going to be close. Um, and yeah, I think yeah, should go 6 or 7 games. And my 4-2 prediction, your 4-3 prediction, 100%, it could easily be the other way. 4-3 Rangers, 4-2 Devils. I think this is an extremely tight one to call. And yeah, it's almost a flip of a coin, whether it's 4-2 Rangers, 4-2 Devils, 4-3 Rangers, 4-3 Devils.
Yeah. Alrighty. Leave it there. So yeah, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below on what you think of this series and who you think is going to come out on top, who your favorite is to yeah, break through and see how many games this goes to. Does it go to 7, or is there a team that gets swept here? But until then, until our next video, we'll catch you later, guys.
Take care, guys.